Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope all's good wherever you are. In this video, we have our man Charlie Kirk debating a young lady, an adult though, which is a student, but keep in mind when you watch these debates, these are adults, on immigration in America. Let's get it.
Hi. All right.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I'm gonna start off by saying I'm a political science student. I'm a second year here at K-State. And I'm a first-generation student.
Try to turn it up a little bit.
Turn it up a little bit?
Yeah, perfect. Great, thank you. And what's
Perfect.
your name again?
Alondra.
Nice to meet
Alvarez. Yeah. So I just had a question, because you talk a lot about, like, protecting and securing our southern borders. But as the granddaughter of immigrants, I think that we get into a lot of complicated disputes with the idea that immigrants are criminals or drug dealers and things like that. So I just want to hear what your opinion is on those expectations or those, what do you call it, those stereotypes that are put on Hispanic communities, Latino communities, and how they change the way people perceive immigration.
Sure. So, thank you for the question. So you said you're the first generation
Yes,
student
I am.
or first generation American?
I'm a first-generation student.
Cool, great. Second generation American? Did I hear that right? Or
Third-generation
Cool.
American on my mom's side.
Great.
Second on my dad's.
when your grandparents, then, is that right, came
Yes.
to this country, did they do so through the legal process that was in front of them?
So my father got married to my mother, so he's a legal resident of the United States. She's been here her entire life.
But did she enter legally?
She did. She's
Okay.
she's born here. Yeah.
Got it.
My grandpa on my dad's side entered in illegally.
Okay. So I'm not here to like insult your grandpa, right? But
Yeah.
yeah, but we must be very clear that the type of immigration that we support is when you follow our rules and you come on our terms, and that you do not break into a country uninvited and you try to cut.
Can I add something to that? The reason why he left, and a lot of people in Mexico do, is because of the political state, especially in the 70s and 80s, when they decided to move. They have a government that isn't supportive of their constituents, and because of drug problems, their only choice was to move.
Yeah, I totally sympathize. That's not true. It's never the only choice to commit a crime, and we should not put up with it. And so it is an insult to other immigrants from Vietnam and Laos and Pakistan that have to wait decades in line to morally equivalate people that come in and just break in. Oh, I have an unstable country. Like half of the world's countries are unstable.
Yeah, but that's why we have the asylum seekers program.
Which is heavily abused, and we're talking two different things. Asylum seekers and walking into the country illegally are similar but different things, right? And so we have millions of gotaways of people that we have no idea who they are. They're not declaring asylum. They just run across the border.
Well, because they can't. The system doesn't allow other people from Mexico specifically to assign themselves.
Who they are the last couple of years. So look, we just have to be very clear with this, is that if you come into the country uninvited, you have committed a crime and you are a criminal. And we could decide that we're not going to enforce our laws, or we can say that when you are a criminal, you should then be punished for that crime, aka sent back to your country of origin, because you were not invited. And it is an insult, again, to the Poles and to the Czechoslovakians and from the Senegalese and people all across the world that don't have the proximity or the luxury just to waltz into America.
You call it a luxury to leave a country that has political tyranny and come into a country with opportunity?
Yes, to live in Mexico, to be able to go 100 miles north and break into America. Do you know how many people in Pakistan would kill to be on that border?
That's why we bring them in.
Well, we shouldn't, right? That's the point. And secondly, do you think that you have a right to immigrate to America?
I think that I didn't have a choice. My grandparents made that decision for me.
And I'm not trying to attack your grandparents, but no one has a right to go to anybody else's country. You are invited. It is a privilege, not a right, to come into America.
So it's a privilege to live a life that requires you to have clean water, clean food, clean air.
Yes, of course it is.
And you have to fight for that?
Yes, it is not.
But we didn't?
Hold on a sec. Well,
born here, we didn't fight for that?
Well, my ancestors did fight for that, actually, and I'm a very thankful recipient of many generations of Americans that fought for the greatest nation ever to exist.
By doing what? Coming here?
Well,
illegally?
Wait, what did my ancestors do? They
came here illegally.
They came over here in 1620, fought in the Revolutionary War, fought in the Civil War, fought in World War I.
So because my grandpa didn't come here in
II.
1620, it gives him no right to have a good life?
No, he can fill out paperwork and wait in line, like the rest of the world. And then we can see whether or not it's in our best interest to allow him to come in. And so we have to weigh costs and benefits. I'm not saying we should have no immigrants, but immigration must be a net benefit for the American homeland and for the American citizen. We have brought in 10 million people in these last couple of years. We have now brought in 5% of the population of Haiti. Nobody is asking these questions. We're just saying, if you want to come in, you can come in. Do you see anything wrong with, I don't know, taking in 5% of the population of Haiti?
Not necessarily, no. If we have the land and the resources to house them, it shouldn't be that big deal to bring in immigrants.
Really? So do you think that the American government should first have a obligation to citizens before foreigners?
Okay, I think we have an
answer the
obligation.
question. Yeah.
Here's the thing. Yeah, we're obligated because we're citizens to have the rights that we have, but that doesn't mean we can't open up our borders
that's not
when
the
we
question.
have the
Hold on a
process to
second.
do so.
And this point of view that she has is, if everything was sunshine and rainbows and everybody in the world was a perfect human being, that would be absolutely fine. But if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. And let's face it, not all immigrants are created equal. We bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Hong Kong, Ukraine, Europe. There's no Ukrainians out there in the streets stabbing each other. There's no Honkinese gangs, to quote Konstantin Kisin, out there grooming the next batch of criminals on the street. And there's so many studies out there. You can look this stuff up. When somebody comes into the country as an immigrant, most immigrants, especially illegals, but most immigrants end up getting more in benefits over the time that they stay in the country, over their whole life. They end up getting more than they pay in taxes. But to put this into perspective, the population of Philadelphia is about 2 million people. That makes it the 6th largest city in the country. Now, did you guys know that we are, in effect, adding a new city the size of Philadelphia into the country every year with illegal immigrants? That's how many illegal immigrants came into the country in 2022. Now, from the illegal immigrants' point of view, sure, I get it. I might even do the same if I was them. In America, you get to earn more money than where they're from. In America, there's the rule of law. In America, there's opportunity. And in America, there are generous government benefits, housing subsidies, free education for their kids, free medical care. That's the illegal immigrant side of the story. Absolutely awesome. It makes perfect sense if you ask me. But what about the other side of the story, right? What about the American taxpayer side of the story? Seems like they should have a say in this. It's estimated that Americans spend over $200 billion, that is with a B, $200 billion a year to house, feed, school, and care for illegal migrants. Now, people like this young lady say, well, we're a rich country and these people are fleeing poverty and war, and it's simply a compassionate thing to do, to let them come here and stay here. If that's the case, then I would ask, where do we draw the freaking line? Because you got to draw the line somewhere. Or do we not draw the line at all? Should we just let anyone from anywhere come into the country? Just have a borderless world? Wouldn't that be the compassionate thing to do? People that come in from the southern border, from South America, from Mexico, the people that come in illegally generally are poor and have very limited education. Now, this is not me being a complete bigot. This is a fact. So doesn't it seem likely that if somebody in that situation would work for almost any wage, for almost any money, wouldn't that drive down the wage for low-skilled American citizens of every race and ethnicity? Because a lot of people won't pay a low-skilled American a minimum wage when they can just pay an illegal immigrant a few pennies on the dollar, 50 cents on the dollar. So what happens to those citizens, including the illegal immigrants, if they get priced out of the job market altogether? Is anybody thinking about them? Violent crime is up every year the more illegal immigrants come into the country, at an alarming rate, I might add. Under these circumstances, does it make sense to allow 2 million people or more a year to enter the country illegally, whom we know nothing about these people? We don't know if they have a criminal record. We don't know if they're carrying a disease. We don't know anything about them. You guys ever seen The Godfather? The Godfather 2, I should add, when like Vito Corleone at the beginning of the movie, Vito comes in to America from Italy, and he arrives and he goes through Ellis Island and he has smallpox. They quarantine him for 3 months because he's got the smallpox. That's what used to happen. This was over 100 years ago. Do we do anything like that now? And what are we going to do with these millions of illegal immigrants once they have been here, say 5 years or 10 years or longer? Do we forcibly deport them? Most likely not. Do we make them citizens after they broke into the country illegally and that's their first act in the country is an illegal one? Give me a break. Let's get back to Charlie Kirk.
You, being a younger American, and everyone in the audience, is the first generation in American history to have it be worse off than your parents. So the social, and you agree with that, social contract, poorer, more expensive. Yeah. So wouldn't it be rational for the American government to say, we're going to prioritize younger generation Americans that are American passport holders and citizens before those in another nation?
I don't want to say anything that offends people. But
go
I've already
ahead.
said it, right? I've already said
Yeah.
it. Whatever. I think that the way we're going about it is wrong. And that if we don't have a clear path to citizenship, we won't open up those opportunities for people to come and seek a good life. But I also think that, we are required to have those rights ourselves.
Seeking a
as
good
American
life
citizens.
is fine. It's a nice added benefit. Our government does not exist to improve the life of foreign citizens.
But we should be open to the idea of accepting that.
Of course we are, if we have our own house in order. We are in chaos right now. We have the most depressed, suicidal, anxious generation in history. Our birth rate is collapsing. Kids can't afford homes. Yeah. You guys are drowning in debt. You have to compete you have to compete for jobs against foreigners. Our country is a mess right now. And so when your country's a mess and your home is in disarray and bedlam, your own government should say, time out. I have a heart for the people of Haiti. I have a heart for the people of every country. But you're not coming here until this generation at least has it as good as their parents.
But it's the stereotype that I'm given as a Mexican American to fulfill those standards that people have on immigration as well.
I don't share that. I haven't said that here today. There's people from all over the world that enter the southern border now. There's 118 countries that come across the southern border. But I don't care if you enter illegally from Bulgaria or from Laos or from Mexico or from Nicaragua. Someone who does not have their paperwork when they come in is by definition breaking federal law.
Yeah,
and so then what should we do with someone who breaks with federal law?
But does that mean that people, including their children, their grandchildren, including myself, have to live with the stereotype or the standard set upon me that I am a criminal, I am a drug dealer, I am a XYZ?
Okay, so have I played into that stereotype?
I've heard it many, many times, not from you specifically today.
Okay, but then it's a little bit of a red herring, right? Because we're not even talking about it. I'm not...
Well, my original question was, what do you think about it?
What do I think about stereotypes?
About the stereotype given to immigrants right now and children of immigrants and people of color here.
Well, I can't talk about something I don't believe in. So, I mean, I don't want people to be stereotyped. No different than when you look at a young white man on campus, you think he's a rapist, right? Which is...
No, I don't.
Well, that's good. No, but that is a stereotype that is pushed sometimes. Like, oh, if you see a young man on campus, it's campus rape culture. Stereotyping is wrong. It should not occur. But we also must understand that the way that we constitute our immigration policy right now in this country is not in the benefit of the American citizen. And we're acting much more like a colony than a country.
What she said, when she said we need to have a clear path to citizenship, yeah, we do. If you go through all the proper legal channels and you come to America legally and you get either a permanent residency or you get whatever type of visa that would qualify for you if you're getting married or something of the sorts, you have a path to citizenship once you're in the country, once you get like your green card. You have to go through some stages, but there is a path just like most countries have a path. I don't talk about myself and my life too much on this channel. I try to focus on the topics at hand. But just to give you an idea, my wife is Thai. I can never be a Thai citizen. I'm a permanent resident right now, and before we got married, I got something called an elite visa. That cost me 30,000 American dollars. It was good for 10 years at the time. I'm also a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis. Because during the COVID lockdowns, I realized that I needed a plan B and I needed to get the hell out of there. And, I've done good in my life. The country has offered me great opportunity to make a lot of money. So I purchased myself and my wife a citizenship to St. Kitts and Nevis. They call it a citizenship by investment. But essentially what it is, you give them a bunch of money and they give you a passport. You get to quote-unquote invest in the great economy that is St. Kitts and Nevis. But good people, they speak English there, easy to assimilate in, nice place to go for a holiday. And if the world goes to crap, I have another place to go, a plan B or C for that matter. But no matter what country you decide to go into, you're going to have to go through the proper channels because the country, and no matter what country, has a responsibility first to its citizens. Let's take Vietnam, for example. You can become a citizen of Vietnam. We know how hard it is to enter there illegally. They have guards on every border, and if you're found to be there illegally, you will be deported and put in jail. Look at Japan. 96% of the people in Japan are Japanese. It is very difficult to immigrate there. Australia is the same way. Now, I get that I'm talking about countries that don't have necessarily a land border when it comes to Japan and Australia, but nonetheless, you have to provide something to the country in order to be able to live there. Nobody's just letting you walk through a southern border and become a citizen. Unbelievable. Get back to it.
And where a country is where you have ties that bind you together, you have a shared history, hopefully a shared language, you have a shared culture, where a colony is you come from anywhere across the world, and so be it.
Yeah, but isn't that like the point of America?
Ah,
Diversity and inclusion and belonging.
I'm so glad you brought that up. Where is that in the Constitution or the Declaration that diversity and inclusion, these are false ideals that are taught in school? They're, I guess, nice, but is diversity and inclusion really an American ideal?
I think so.
Where does it say that?
I think that everyone has the right to live out their own individuality, their own lives, and their own way.
I know, but you say the American ideal. Where do you get that from? Yeah, pursuit of happiness for Americans. You're right, because that's what the Declaration was
American.
written for. No, if that's fine.
Does that mean I'm not valid here for having a diverse background?
No, of course you are, but I'm saying that what?
So can I not express that?
Don't change the topic. You said we should be able to open up the country for people from all across the world.
Yeah.
Why do we believe that is a core belief?
Because we want to help people. That's the point. We came here a
Got
long time ago. We established a country a long time ago, and we want to have other people come in, I think, to live in the luxury that we live in now.
Last question.
I knew
Are you okay with deporting every illegal person that's here?
No.
Why?
Because there's some people here that are not represented well by the media. There's a lot of illegal immigrants here that are working their butts off for the life that they want.
I don't care if they're working hard. But the point is, what should the punishment be for breaking into a country?
Depends on the crime you commit after you break into it.
Okay. That's it. I'm talking about just the crime is breaking in. What should the punishment be? I break into somebody's home. What should their punishment be?
Can you repeat that?
Oh, so if you behave after you get here, that's fine. So to play that out, if someone comes into your dorm room uninvited and they do the dishes and laundry, they can stay?
If I'm not going to do my own dishes, heck yeah. They're doing my dishes for me? Cool. If they don't kill me, I'm not dead. It is what it is, man.
Well, they are killing a lot of Americans, but...
You say they. Like, they are?
Yes,
like,
they.
All illegal immigrants kill people? That's crazy.
Many illegals do. Actually, the crime rate for illegals is far above that of native-born Americans. And even if it wasn't, it would not be there. No, but it's just interesting. The punishment for the crime of breaking into a nation should be what it is in Switzerland and Israel and Hungary. Every person who breaks into a nation uninvited goes back to their country of origin, period.
So why is there an emphasis on the southern border?
Because most people come illegally through the southern border. 10 million people have come across the southern border. And by the way, do you have any concern for the 320,000 missing kids that have also been sex trafficked across the southern border?
Of course I do.
But who's doing the sex trafficking?
A handful of people, not everybody else.
320,000, that's a lot.
The children.
Yeah, but each one of them has a handler. So, and that means that 320,000 sex pimps are bringing in sex slaves to this country.
The point I'm trying to make is that we categorize all illegal immigrants under the same thing. Sex traffickers, drug dealers.
Am I doing that?
And by you saying all illegal immigrants have to be deported, you're implying that all of them are doing these terrible things. And not a small percentage of them.
Well, it's not small, actually. 320,000 out of 10 million is not small, actually. That's a serious number. That's 3.2% of all people that came into the country are connected to sex slavery in some way. That's insane, actually. 3.2% are connected to sex slavery. That's like a lot. But anyway, so let's just I want to just make clear. If you come into a country uninvited, definitionally you are a criminal.
We're just not going to agree.
It's fine. Then final question. What is a criminal?
What is a criminal?
No, what is it? Would you agree with the definition that a criminal is someone who breaks the law?
Here's where I'm thinking. Here's the thing. I know how he's going to turn it, and I don't fully agree.
It's not a matter of turning it. It's a very ABC sequence. If they're not criminals, then tell me what a criminal is. And a criminal is obviously someone who breaks the law. Someone who comes across the southern border broke federal law, therefore they are a criminal.
Okay, then we can just disagree.
But you have to tell me what a criminal is, though.
Trump!
Oh, Trump, yeah.
Yo!
You got to come up to the mic. Okay.
She's right behind me.
Yeah.
Have fun.
Can't tell me what a criminal is. Yeah. It's so sad. It's because if you want to really get down to it, at the core, and she's a very sweet person who was there, the left cannot define core terms. Criminal, woman, racist, democracy.
It's great to hear these debates, but the drug cartels, when we talk about the Mexican border, the southern border of the United States, the drug cartels controls the border on the Mexican side. You can't come across into America without paying them a sizable bribe. And we know that this bribe money adds up to millions and millions of dollars. Maybe billions, who knows, with the amount of people coming through now. Doesn't this mean that if we're doing that, if we're letting people come into the country illegally, we're allowing the cartels to get richer and more powerful? These people are not taking this money and giving it to children's hospitals. They're using it to further corrupt Mexico's police and government officials, not to mention buy weapons or anything else they want. We know that the drug cartels use migrants also to smuggle drugs like fentanyl that are killing over 100,000 Americans every year, mostly younger people. Cartels also engage in human trafficking, especially with young women. Are we not encouraging criminal activity when we just let people cross in the border willy-nilly, virtually unchecked by anyone? You cannot assimilate that amount of people easily. If you're adding, let's say, 2 million people a year or more into the country, this alters the character of a nation. Look what happened to Europe. These people are raised in a different culture, a different tradition, and different values than ours. I'm not saying that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it will change the whole landscape of a country. And we say we want a more diverse country. Have you seen the neighborhoods where these people go and live in? It is not diverse. What happens is we'll either change them or they change us. Which do you think with a liberal government is more likely to happen now at the rate that people are coming into the country? One of the big reasons that a lot of countries around the world have stingy immigration laws is to preserve their national culture. It's important to most countries. You look at Asia, it is very important to them to preserve their national culture. You can live there, you can be a permanent resident, you can go and travel there. Very hard to become a citizen because they don't want you there as a citizen. They're happy the way it is. You can stay there as long as you want. A lot of countries, you can become a permanent resident. That's like as far as you'll go. You get all the same rights and benefit as a citizen. You just don't get a passport and you don't get to vote. And they have a bunch of criteria that you have to meet and qualify for every year in order to stay. A country without borders, I'll say it again, is not a country. Hope you all enjoyed this video. Great video by Charlie Kirk. Smash that thumbs up button if you're still listening now. Consider subscribing to our channel. Help it grow. Catch you all in the next video. Peace out, everybody.